The evidence that Bowen is going to crash our economy, our energy sector, is now overwhelming. As Rebecca Weiser and renowned geophysicist Michael Aston explained on Spectator TV, right here on ADH last Friday night,
the Net Zero Australia Partnership released its mobilisation report this week. The lead author is Professor Robin Batterham. He's a very distinguished scientist. He's the former Chief Scientist of Australia. He's a Professor of Engineering at Melbourne University. He has a track record in industry and he was the head of global innovation at Rio Tinto. So he's got a real depth of expertise, both in a practical sense and in a theoretical sense. He's described net zero as an immense challenge. He says Australia will have to spend $1,300 billion on renewable energy, and that's just over the next decade. 1,300 billion, that's 1.3 trillion. Just in a decade. That's a staggering amount of money.
The amount of money needed for the renewable energy version of our grid, which is this $1,300 billion cost, that cost is truly enormous, and it represents a very, very large challenge indeed, and it demands a great deal of conversation as to whether the purely renewable system is the way to go, or whether we have to consider other options like coal or nuclear, and in what mix.
So much for the cost of alleviating climate change then. But what if climate change isn't even real? Well, I'm glad you asked. Dr. John Clauser, a joint recipient of the Nobel Prize for Physics last year, recently released a statement saying, quote, "Misguided climate science has metastasized into massive shock journalistic pseudoscience. In turn, the pseudoscience has become a scapegoat for a wide variety of other unrelated ills. It has been promoted and extended by similarly misguided business, marketing agents, politicians, journalists, government agencies and environmentalists. In my opinion, there is no real climate crisis. There is, however, a very real problem with providing a decent standing of living to the world's expanding population, especially given an associated energy crisis." Australia, one of the richest nations in the world for energy resources, is currently feeling the cost of that energy crisis, thanks to Bowen's insane policies.